With the markets gyrating so far in 2016, one of the biggest advantages of coming to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, is access to the top business minds. One of the most in demand is with me now. He is Rich Lesser, President and CEO of Boston Consulting Group. I have to ask you, there are so many headwinds right now, from plummeting oil, real concerns about terrorism. What is the state most CEOs are in right now that you deal with?
I think most CEOs are dealing with a world of much higher uncertainty than they're used to, but also much more fundamental need for change. And I think it's that combination, the uncertainties we know. Some are macroeconomic, frankly, even more probably geopolitical right now. The need for change, though, is at least as high on two fronts. One is growth is just harder to find right now around the world. And CEOs know that just sort of keeping up with your sector isn't going to be sufficient, and you've got to outperform. And second, there's a digital transformation underway across so many companies and industries, and trying to figure out how to build the skills in the organization, where to focus, how to invest, presents a whole different set of challenges than most companies have faced.
I can only imagine that they're paralyzed, sometimes with fear. But you're saying you can't. You've got to continue to evaluate and to change and morph.
I would actually say I don't see most of them paralyzed with fear. I think most of them are trying to deal with uncertainty, but it is not the uncertainty of, say, post-Lehman, when people were in a system shock, and then you would say there was a paralysis that hit the world economy and people just froze, not knowing what to do. I think right now people are very much in an action mode, and you see it. You see it in the M&A world. You see it in the kinds of investments that companies are making, and I think that's the environment they're in, and they have to be in.
But you consult for a lot of energy companies. Most people did not forecast the jaw-dropping plummet in oil prices. How serious is that for the energy companies you deal with?
Oh, it's a huge challenge, right? It's 70% declines over a few years, but recognize that they were already on this path. You know, it's been several years that they've been changing their investment profile, focusing incredibly on internal productivity, thinking, very carefully about where every incremental dollar goes. So the pressure is even higher than it was 6 months ago, but the direction of travel hasn't changed too much.
What is the number one characteristic these business leaders and CEOs have to survive in a very difficult world, Rich?
Boldness. This is a time when standing still is falling behind. Standing still is falling behind because the growth won't meet expectations of your investor community. Standing still is falling behind because of the requirements to embrace technology and to figure out how to leverage it in your business. I think we need leaders that really step up to that, and also recognize it's a multi-stakeholder world. Of course, you start with your investors, but you've got to engage your organization. You've got to give them a sense of purpose. You've got to figure out how you play in the communities that you operate in a positive and productive way.
You travel so much. What point on the globe do you see as sort of the best opportunity for investment right now?
I think for most leaders, actually, they look at the U.S. When you're in the U.S., everybody focuses on
India
the problems.
Or something like that.
India would be second, but remember, India's economy is still a fraction of the U.S., and India, though it is making progress, is still trying to work through the ease of doing business. And I give Prime Minister Modi enormous credit for the agenda they've taken on. It'll take years to work it through, and many leaders are very happy with the conversations they're having in India and are seeing some of it translate into on the ground, but looking for more. The U.S. is many times bigger, stable environment, some growth, not the growth people want, but some growth and a lot of opportunity. And I think that feels probably like the safest investment environment with the reasonable prospects of good growth.
How many meetings do you have when you come on the ground this year?
It's a crazy week. I am booked from the moment from right now that you're the first person I'm speaking to, all the way through Saturday night. I think I have 30 one-on-ones and a whole variety of sessions I get to, and a dinner I host and a breakfast I host. It's a busy week.
What is the one thing you want to hear out of this year's Davos?
I think look, for me, the value of coming to Davos is the calibration opportunity. You get to talk to so many leaders around the world, and sometimes the overall mood at Davos can swing too far one direction or the other, too positive, sometimes too negative other years. But the chance to engage with other leaders in the business world, of course, but in other communities as well, I really value the chance to do that. I think second, this Davos is appropriately themed around Industry 4.0, the what's happening around us. And I think at times when we can so focus externally on the geopolitics and the macroeconomy, figuring out what we all need to do to step up to this digital world and how to embrace it, how to make it happen inside our own organizations and for the world community, I think that is the right theme.
Rich Lesser, have a good Davos.
Oh, thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you for having us. Rich Lesser of the Boston Consulting Group.